Okay, so today's lesson is all about product to sum formulas and sum to product. So whenever I'm talking about this, what I mean is a product, meaning we have multiplication of two trig functions. To sum means going to addition of two trig functions. And then vice versa, sum to product. And you can see that whenever you open up, you can see that here we're going from a product, we're multiplying, to a sum. Now, a sum can also be a difference, all right? But they're not making that distinction for ease of the name, okay? They want to lump them all together. So subtraction is actually a form of addition, adding a negative. So therefore, you see here we have a product of two sines. It becomes a difference. We have a product of two cosines. It can become a sum. Sine and cosine, blah, cosine, sine, blah. So here's the various formulas that you have, and you can use them to go in one direction or the other direction, depending on the problem that you're doing, and you'll see some examples in a minute. And then these down here go in the opposite direction, so they take a sum and turn it into a product. And this is all about having different angle measures. So you'll notice in all 8 of these, there's an alpha and a beta. So it's talking about having different angle measures. So it'd be like x and y. It wouldn't be like theta and theta or 30 and 30. It would be more like 30 and 15 or something like that. Okay? So for sake of using these, we're going to highlight some things, and I highly suggest you do this. Because otherwise you might mess up some signs because it gets really, really weird in here. Okay, so we're going to label this 1 with a certain color, and I'm just going to go through and mark this as a difference in between. So I'm going to highlight that sign there, and then I'm going to label this formula 2 and highlight that it's a sum. Here I'm going to label this 3, and I'm going to highlight that it's also a sum, and 4, it's a difference. So now whenever you go back and look at these formulas, you're going to see, oh, I'm using number 1. And then whenever you refer back to it, you don't accidentally look at the wrong formula. Because I'm telling you right now, whenever you're in class trying to do a problem and you're looking at all these formulas, it's going to be really easy to look at the wrong one. So we're just numbering them to be able to talk to other people and to me and know which formula we're dealing with. Another thing is, I highly suggest that you also highlight the symbols in the arguments as well, just so you can kind of visually see what they are. So you can see here it's minus plus, minus plus, plus minus, plus minus. So it's kind of some visual distinction there. Now go down to the bottom and we're going to do a very similar thing. We're going to say this is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And this time we're going to highlight the signs up here. So for number 1, it's a plus and a minus. For number 2, it's a minus then a plus. For number 3, plus then a minus, and for number 4, a plus then a minus. So notice the only one that isn't plus then minus is the second one. I don't know why it's like that, it just is. Another thing I want you to take note of whenever you're using these is which trig function you have. This one's sine and cosine. This one's sine and cosine. Oh, now down here, all of a sudden it's cosine and cosine, and the last one's sine and sine. There's no rhyme or reason, so you just have to be mindful of what you're plugging and chugging into. Also, this is the only one that has a negative sign out front, so don't forget about that. So I know some of you don't believe in all this highlighting and all this and that, but it does help you visually to see what's going on. And over here, I'm going to highlight these symbols as well. So there, I've got it. Uh-oh, I'm frozen. So now that we've done all that highlighting, let's tackle an actual problem.